You're at work when your phone buzzes. The Uber driver cannot find your dad. Your sister's appointment is in 20 minutes. You're coordinating both from your desk, and your spouse is 30 miles away, wondering when you'll be at home. If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. Hey, Christian Care Companion. Welcome back to Dementia Caregiver Support for Christians. Here we guide Bible-believing Christians that are facing 4 caregiving problems: the hard burdens, the hard conversations, the hard emotions, and the hard decisions. This episode is a hard decisions episode about stewardship. When caregiving collides with your marriage, with your work, and with distance, how do you build a plan that will hold? We'll walk through a simple path as we work with Sonia so you can hear it in action and use it in your own situation. Here's what you'll learn: a way to look at when it's time to consider assisted living, how to confirm decision authority and how to use it, and a steady plan for your sibling now with dad as well as later after dad passes away. If you're struggling with these kinds of hard decisions, your next step is to join the Christian Dignicare Society. It is a lifetime $97 access only through December 31st. Next year, it will be $97 a year. Inside this, you will have a monthly Ask Me Anything session for steady, situation-specific guidance, the curated podcast path that is going to be organized by our 4 core caregiver problems, and a quiet place to connect with other Bible-believing caregivers with a growing resource section you can return to as things change. You can join us now using the link in the show notes. Now, let's dive into today's episode with Sonia. Hello, Miss Sonia. How are you, young lady?
Really good. Thank you. How are you?
I am good. I'm very good. So, if caregiving felt easier for you 6 months from now, what would that look like for you?
Not having to arrange the Uber drivers and pickups for my dad for all his VA appointments. He has about 2 to 3 every week. And trying to get him to be where he needs with the Uber app, like in a position within the parking lot. He refuses to do it. And then I've had to send, the most cars I've had to request a ride for him is 5 because he's not in the spot where he needs to be. And I work full time, and there's literally nobody else in our family that is able to do it. Our situation is, I have my sister who's 57 and with cerebral palsy, and she does have mental issues, not very bad. Like, she's pretty good with stuff. Like, she understands things. She just lacks with social cues and monetary things like that. So other than that, she's really great. But I am the one that has to coordinate her doctor appointments as well as take her too. And she has a weekly doctor's appointment where I have to personally drive her because we have the van for her. So our situation is a little complex, but just, I think the Uber, getting my dad the trips and stuff, because once I get him there to the VA, it's fine, but getting him home is always the trial. And then I have to listen into the doctor's appointments because, he's not going to remember anything. And they ask questions that, oh, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong with me. So stuff like that.
I understand for sure. So it sounds like your biggest problem is logistical and human power.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an accurate summary?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. So can I ask some clarification questions?
Yes.
You are correct. You have a little more of a more complicated situation. So you're the primary caregiver for both your sister and your dad
Yes, ma'am.
that live with you.
I live with part-time with them because my house and my husband and our animals are 30 miles away from their house. And I work 30 miles away. So I'm there with them. Overnights are 1 to 2 days a week. And then I'm always there usually because I have to deal with whatever's going on with my dad and sister like 2 to 3 times a week,
Okay.
in addition to the overnight.
Well, you have a very complicated situation.
Yeah.
Who else is in your ecosystem that can help?
Nobody. I've reached out. I have a brother, but when all this happened 5 years ago because my mom went to federal prison. And so in the very beginning, day one, he said that he's not going to be able to help because he is an educator and his position at school is very demanding. Like he himself is at school for 12 hours. So he's out. His wife is busy. She has a full-time job. My aunts are all older as well and have their own health issues. And there's really nobody. I mean, I have my husband, but he's here at the house taking care of, he's like the homemaker of our house. So I and my emotional support. So I feel bad
Absolutely.
asking him to step in and help even more than what he's doing. So,
So Sonia, I do have another question related to your mom.
okay.
I remember on the workshop that you had mentioned the possibility of a compassionate release for her.
Yes, that's correct.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being it's never going to happen and a scale of 10 being more likely going to happen, where do you think that possibility lies?
Probably like a 4.
Okay. So that's less than half
Hmm.
of the possibility that it might happen.
Correct.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We have to think through this from the perspective of your mom is not going to get out
Okay.
and be able to help.
Okay.
If she does, that's a benefit and a bonus,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
How old is your dad?
He's 78.
Okay. So dad is 78 and your sister is 57.
Yes.
Okay. May I unpack this for you in a pretty direct way?
Yes, please.
Okay. It is not from unkindness. It is from the outside listening and hearing to everything that you have just said. One person cannot do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And now I'm going to start to unpack it from the perspective of the entire system. All of the pieces that are kind of in play. Okay. It sounds like your dad is and or was your parents are and or were your sister's primary caregivers.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Your parents are going to pass away.
Correct.
And when that happens, your sister will not be able to stay where she's at,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Right.
What plans or provisions are in place to ensure that your sister is taken care of after they pass away that does not involve you?
Well, we do have a special living trust because of her disability. I forget what they call it, but it's a special trust. Yeah, a specialty trust for her. My brother's in charge of the house. We've all talked, and the agreement is that we would probably sell the house and reconstruct, make a room for her here at my house. My brother, like we always talked, and my brother said, "Well, if something happens, you take Monica, my sister, and I'll take Dad." My brother would take my dad, so we could do some construction here at my home and
Okay.
accommodate her. So we do have that in place. Our goal is always to keep her with us, if at all possible.
If at all possible. So now let's play this through even further.
Okay.
You implement that plan and you pass away. What then?
She would have to go into a facility. My brother wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay. Have you and your brother considered a group home placement for your sister? Or if there are assets, an assisted living placement for your sister?
Yes. We would probably go more that route,
Okay.
because the value of the house, me and my brother have already said we'll forego our cut of the house in order to put her in a nice facility that she would be comfortable with.
Okay. Where do you live in the country?
In California, Southern California.
Okay. I would love you to consider all of these things that we have just talked about. You have a sister that needs help.
Hmm.
You have a dad that needs help. You're a married woman who is not with her husband, whose primary responsibility is her husband.
Right.
And we have a dad that potentially could live for another 5 to 10 years and a
Hmm.
sister that we have to take care of.
Right.
Would it not make sense to think through and or consider actually starting to liquidate the assets, that it sounds like there are some assets,
Hmm.
and consider assisted living level of care for your dad and your sister?
Yeah, I could look into that.
Some assisted livings, it is possible to get like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Mm.
So, what I'm thinking or what I'm considering or envisioning, is it possible to consider or research or look into a 2-bedroom apartment assisted living that provides the assistance and help for both your sister and your dad? They can continue to live together and you learn and you can breathe. Because the reality is, if your dad has cognitive impairment, the Uber is a band-aid.
Mm.
It means that we're doing it right now and it's working right now, but it's really not working super well because we're calling 5 Ubers
Yeah.
because he's not standing where he needs to be.
Right. Right.
And you are being pulled geographically 30 to 60 miles,
Right.
which is an hour and a half in good conditions driving in Southern California.
Yeah.
So what I would w I hear your heart. I hear your heart in wanting to keep them at home. And being 30 miles apart is always gonna be pulling you apart.
Yeah.
So from the outside looking in, one option is liquidating your dad's assets, talking to your brother, liquidating the assets, putting both dad and your sister in an assisted living facility close to you so you can help, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That would be my primary first place to go.
Hmm.
The second place would be, okay, we've talked about building on for sis to come live here and dad to go to your brother. It honestly, based on what you've described, doesn't sound like that is a viable solution, that your
Hmm.
dad go live with your brother, because if your brother is working those many hours and your dad needs supervision,
Hmm.
that plan
Yes.
is not going to work,
Right. Yeah. That's true.
right? So an
Yeah.
alternative is in the building construction. Is it possible? I don't know. These are just questions. To, instead of just building one room, but a little granny flat with 2 bedrooms and a space for the 2 of them so you can provide that. That would be the secondary option.
Hmm.
It's expensive, it changes your house, all those things, and the responsibility is still yours.
Right. Mm.
So just looking at your situation, what I would recommend you prayerfully do, talk to your husband about what we talked about. We have to assume your mom is not going to be able to help.
Okay.
If your mom Like if you told me there's an 80% chance, I would say, okay. But 40% chance indicates that we cannot rely on that, and we're trying to build a plan on something that's not going to happen.
Okay.
And so
That's
your stress levels are never going to go away because you're hoping that your mom will be liberated to come on compassionate leave to take care of this. The
yeah.
government's not going to look at it like that.
Okay.
If she's in a federal prison for whatever, I don't need to know why, but for whatever reason she's in a federal prison, they're not going to say caregiving is necessarily a good reason, because we're talking about potentially, multiple years worth of this.
Yeah.
Might they let her on compassionate leave if somebody was on hospice and had 3 weeks to live? Possibly, right?
Yeah.
But I doubt that they will allow something like that.
Yeah. I agree.
We need to take that out of the equation, and of those two options, you and your husband need to decide, like, is it feasible? Do you even want to do it? The building on, etc. thing, and be on the same page before you present it to your brother.
Okay.
The final question I have for you is, who is the decision maker? You or your brother?
Me.
Okay, good. And the reason I ask that is, if you have the ability and the capacity and the authority to make the decision, it changes the conversation versus you've got to get your brother's buy-in.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
he's on board. He understands
Right.
that whatever I say is fine.
So the reality is, your relationship with your husband is way more important than all of these other factors. We have to get you back with your husband, or else you'll be done with this and not be married.
Okay. Yeah, that's a priority.
Yeah, it is a priority. Biblically,
Okay.
it's a priority, right?
Yes. Yes.
So your husband first. I'm not saying I'm definitely not saying throw your dad and your sister under the bus.
Yeah.
But if there are assets, leverage the assets and provide a different level of care. Do it earlier, free yourself back up so that you can breathe.
Okay.
Okay? What's
Yes.
one thing from our conversation today, Miss Sonia, that you will take action on, or potentially take action on?
I'll research the assisted living, get on that, and do better to make my husband a priority.
You are doing a good job. You
Thank
have
you.
a very complicated situation. Be gracious to yourself. You have a lot on your plate. No one person can carry that by themselves. I 100% can guarantee you that if my crystal ball breaks every time I try to do this. If you don't do something different, you will burn out, and your health will suffer, and your marriage will have a problem, and you're still going to have your sister, because she's 57. That's pretty young yet. So
Yeah.
we have to think about long-term, what's best for your sister
Mhm.
while factoring in your dad. And what's best for your sister is moving in with your dad somewhere, because he's her stability factor,
Okay.
right? So
Right.
we move her and him into an assisted living facility while he can still be with her when he passes away, because it's going to happen.
Yes.
She's in an assisted living facility. We move her from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom.
Okay.
She's already in a social environment. She's got new friends. She's taken care of. And if you die and your brother die, you know that she is taken care of.
Yes. That's very good.
Okay?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much.
You are very welcome, Sonia. People who are really benefiting from the community are the people who joined earlier on, before they need it,
Yep.
and that have been active and are participating in the community, because then they already know what questions to ask, and they have a place to come, and they're not constantly wondering, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? So people listening are interested in tapping into or learning about the community. I'd invite you to just go to the website, thinkdifferentdementia.com. There's a link for you to schedule a 20-minute call. There's no pressure. I'll serve you regardless of whether you join the community or not. But it is a way for you to take this relationship a little deeper, a little bit more hands-on support, because really the research also shows it's longitudinal support over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I would highly recommend Lizette. She's awesome.
I see. I appreciate that endorsement.